What's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Dan from Random Media Guys,
And I'm Chris from Random Media Guys.
and welcome to our broadcast where we talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Mainly because it's the month of October, we're going to start to talk about horror stuffs, and we should talk about the thing that happened at the beginning of the month with us, the Reign of Terror haunt that we went to.
We started off October 1st going to the Reign of Terror haunt in Thousand Oaks, California at the Jan's Marketplace. And it's probably the best haunt I've been in. I don't get out too much to many haunts, but I probably should. But this one was the best one I've seen so far. I've been to Halloween Horror Nights, over the years, and a few haunts here and there. But this one was definitely the work that and creativity was put in was great.
Yeah, I gotta agree. The whole thing where you start out like kind of in a mining thing, and then you progress to different haunts, and you're never quite sure whether something's a animatron or an actual actor, which was kind of crazy.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, it was a long, good haunt. I mean, and definitely the decorate. The work they did in the line that leads up to the main haunt was really good. And yeah, I mean, inside the haunt they like covered every kind of horrible, horror, thing. Like there was like a killer doctor and a clown and a circus and zombie soldiers and stuff. It really kind of covered, again, miners and a ghost room. It really hit everything, you know. It was kind of like, because different, I think, haunts have themes, like, maybe it's more zombie or more, psycho killer or ghost themed. But this one definitely hits it's like a ton of haunts in one haunt. It's the fun pack.
Yeah, I really enjoyed about that. It's kind of like Horror Nights, but better because it's all self-contained as opposed to being you have to go to the Freddy haunt and then you have to go to the
Right.
alien.
Right. This really covered a bunch of different, horror genres in one haunt that we all like. And I thought it was awesome. I'd like to go. I'm going to go next year. And I would like to check out more haunts, honestly, all around Southern California, like I was telling you.
Yeah, that would be pretty badass. I always want to check out those hell houses that those Christians have, just to laugh
Hell
at
houses.
them.
Okay, that is kind of awesome. I have vaguely heard of that. That is kind of funny.
Yeah,
Hell houses where it's like, I mean, it could probably. I mean, I'd go just to see the creativity. I mean, if they put on a really good show, that's what I would honestly be there for. I wouldn't.
It's all what's the word?
Propaganda.
No, other word.
MTV.
Proselytizing. It's all proselytizing. They're all trying to get you to become.
Sure. Honestly, if it's entertaining like that, and a lot of those things I think are for free,
yeah.
I'm definitely interested to see what kind of show they put on. I mean, that's from my point of view, to like come in there in a more positive light, without sort of getting mad. Oh, they're trying to force their religion on people and stuff. I just try to check out what creativity they put into it, and some of them sure is cool. Like a big devil room, that would be cool. I really like the artwork of devils, and the devil creature itself is really cool.
Did you have a book about the devil?
I have all kinds of books about the devil. Yeah, the philosophy of the devil. It's a really, really good one. The devil and philosophy.
That's pretty badass.
And it goes into like different devils. Like if you notice, in like Hollywood has their different devils, and then obviously you have the devil of the Bible. You have you have Islamic devil, and you have there's kind of devilish figures in the East and whatnot. And different Christian denominations throughout the centuries also had different depictions of the devil. So the book kind of gets into that more.
Yeah, that's the subject. The fun one for me was Sokar for Egypt, and he's basically like the god of like the trials you have to get through in order to get to get to Anubis and Thoth, so that you can be judged, and if you're good, you have to live with Osiris.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's a quite interesting, It's interesting mythology.
You should do that one of these days. You should do a video on the history of the devil.
Of devils and then demons and whatnot. The devil, the Christian devil.
Well, he had an interesting story. I mean, it's evolved over the whole thing. In fact, the one thing I heard about was the name Lucifer comes from a sect of Christianity called the Luciferians, where they refer to Jesus as the Lucifer, the light bearer. And they basically, when they were Gnostics and they got demonized by the Catholics when they after Nicaea, they basically say, "Oh, see, they believe in a false light bearer, and therefore it's Satan."
That's a very interesting, that maybe going way back, the devil did not have the negative connotation it has with a lot of Christians today. Like I said, if you really look and interpret the Bible, the devil's more of like kind of a bad cop. He's kind of a rough cop, not so much. He's kind of a mean authority, policeman. He's not so much like, oh, he's a correctional officer. He's a prison warden. They're not very nice.
Wasn't that how it went in the Devil's Advocate? I mean, let's get over to movies. That was really kind of.
Oh yeah, that was a great movie. If anyone hasn't seen it, I highly recommend The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah,
and how basically the devil didn't do anything. It was Al Pacino. What a devil Al Pacino plays. But yeah, it was with Keanu Reeves, and I don't want to give it away. I was about to, but yeah, I mean, it's a really good one. I highly recommend it.
Dude, what's your favorite movie? I got to be partial to Little Nicky's dad. That was a freaking awesome devil.
My favorite movie, Devil. I have to say, Viggo Mortensen in Prophecy was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that was.
You saw Prophecy with Christopher Walken, how he's Gabriel.
Yeah, he's like
looking for his shit and everything. He's looking to make his own hell. He's basically going down the Luciferian route, and then God's like, "No, you can't do that." There's, and then Viggo Mortensen, the devil's like, telling him, I'm the only devil. Your hell is going to be one too many fucking hells.
Dude, I love Christopher Walken going, look at my trumpet. Look, it'll blow stuff. Like he had the trumpet.
Yeah, he had a trumpet. He had a trumpet that was blowing windows open and shit. It was actually a really good biblical movie. I mean, that's cool. There's Native Americans in it chanting away because the devil was trying to get the soul of a military general that was going to lead his forces to create his new domain. And that was actually a really cool concept.
You mean Gabriel was doing it?
Yeah, Gabriel was chasing after this soul of this military general, and then the other angels were keeping, and then they put the soul of the general in a little girl, and then they're protecting her, and then Lucifer was instructing these Native Americans to chant the soul away. So Gabriel couldn't get it. Viggo Mortensen, Satan. It was funny and cool. I liked it.
Yeah, I got it.
They made 3 of those movies. I haven't seen the second or the third one. I'd like to.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that either. Anyway, you seen any other good horror movies lately? I started watching Dracula: The Untold Story, which actually is pretty badass.
Dracula: The Untold Story. Is this a movie or a documentary?
It was a movie. It's the one with Luke Evans, the guy who was in The Hobbit, who was the guy who killed the dragon. He's in the movie, and it basically.
Yes, the new Dracula one, where it's kind of bringing the mythological Bram Stoker Dracula and blending it with Vlad the Impaler, the historical figure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was a really good movie. I saw Jody, and we really enjoyed it.
So how about you give a review for it then?
Yeah, let's do that. I saw it. I thought it was a really entertaining movie, and kind of it created a new story. I mean, there's been so many Dracula movies over the years, and it kind of created its own interesting story that I really liked. That he was kind of sacrificing himself to obtain this power to help defend his people from the Turks.
He's almost become the what was it called, the tragic villain. He did it
Right, right. He became a tragic villain.
or tragic hero,
Um,
more like it, because he is the
yeah,
hero. Sure.
yeah, and he has this condition now that puts him in this position, but he's trying to be moral at the same time and not turn into a total vampire. But I guess what was it his friends or his kid or something that turned into that went total evil? It was like he had there's other I forget the movie I saw it a couple years ago.
I haven't quite finished it, but yeah, something like that happens.
Yeah, it was good.
You had Charles Dance. He was in Game of Thrones. He also was in he's been in he was the bad guy in Last Action Movie, the one with who had the fake eye. That was him.
Oh yes, that's right. Him. Yes, he's the vampire, the weird vampire of the cave that Dracula goes to become a vampire.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to see. You go, holy shit, that's that guy, and then you realize he's Tywin Lannister, like the head Lannister in Game of Thrones. You're like, holy shit, like this guy gets around.
Yeah, it was. He's a really compelling actor. Yeah, I remember him from Alien 3. Alien 3.
Yeah,
He
that's
was in
not the best.
Alien 3.
It's like not the best Alien.
No, I heard they're redoing. They're coming out with a new Aliens. No, they're coming out with a new Alien 3. They're doing something. They're working on a movie with Sigourney Weaver and Michael Biehn from Terminator, and they're doing an alternate storyline. Like, what if Alien 3 didn't have? Basically, they're going to ignore Alien 3 and do something where they live at the end of Aliens on the ship, and they go on some adventure with the little girl and everything.
Pretty badass.
I think so too. I think it'll be pretty badass. I'm kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's perhaps one of the best horror movies ever was Aliens, because it was
Probably more of an action film than a horror film. Kind of sci-fi action horror.
No, Alien the original, not Aliens.
Oh yeah, Alien was sci-fi. It gave birth to really defined sci-fi horror. Was Alien.
Yeah, I mean, it was very much a claustrophobic thing where you had everyone was because it was running through the ducts. It literally was I don't know what's going on, and because it can move so quickly, you didn't know where it was going to come out, and you never got to fully see it until the very end. You saw like the face or maybe like kind of the outline of it. But it was at the very end you finally saw the full xenomorph, and that's actually something that's kind of lost in some movies. Like I saw that with Empire Strikes Back when they show the Wampa, when they're like, no, you don't show it until when it attacks Luke, because that adds more mystery and it adds more tension to the story.
Yeah, I thought it was a really spooky film, but what was interesting, the film had really great cinematography with space and the spaceship they were in and the planet they landed on. And then you had this creepy, monstrous alien, this animal just kind of hunting, just kind of feeding off everybody, feeding on everybody there. I thought it was a really good movie, but there was a lot of dynamics to it, and I think it really did define sci-fi horror at the time. There kind of wasn't a strict genre for that, perhaps at the time. Because what followed, then The Thing was a really good remake that followed that, and that was very sci-fi horror.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was really trippy because the end, and the spoilers for anybody who's watching, there's that scene where you have Kurt Russell and Keith David talking, and I think someone said that he hands him what apparently is gasoline. So it's basically that there's hints that Keith David's character, was it Childs, is actually an alien. He's actually infected, and basically, I heard some theory like that.
Oh, with The Thing?
Yeah, The Thing.
Yeah, the ending is definitely one of those endings where they left it up to the audience to decide. I think that was John Carpenter's thing. It's kind of like, what if? Is Mac an alien? Though he get his blood tested, but we don't know, he could have been infected after that whole ordeal.
Right. I mean, the thing basically would infect things, and that's what I was thinking. Maybe he got infected later,
But was the black guy maybe infected too?
That's what I'm thinking. No, not Kurt Russell's character, but Childs, Keith David, the black guy. I think there's that he actually is actually infected at the end, and Kurt Russell's like, "Well, we're screwed," kind of thing.
Yeah, it was maybe either was something there like who was the thing.
Yeah.
Well, because Kurt Russell killed another thing, does the thing kill other things? I believe there is something in the movie that indicated that it didn't, that it did not attack itself or its own.
Yeah, it's self-preservation.
It had self-preservation, but did those two, which guy at the end maybe was one guy kind of shying away from helping? Because I know Kurt Russell blew the main thing up.
Yeah, that's right. Because he went in and like there was like a big ass like that.
Yeah, right. And then Childs
was
whatever.
Missing.
Yeah, he goes missing. So maybe he's the last thing.
Yeah, that was like a really fucking awesome scene, and Kurt Russell's like, well, you were going back to the whole like John Carpenter leaving things up to interpretation. He did that in Vampires, where basically you have the one guy who got bitten and basically said, "Well, I'm going to drive down." It makes you wonder: is what's his name? James Wood going to go hunt him down, or is he just going to let him die?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it was really good. It was. I liked John Carpenter's Vampires. You know, it was a book before it was a movie.
Really?
Yeah, I actually picked it up at a used bookstore. I was like, huh, this was actually a book, and it wasn't like a movie book kind of promotional item. It was an actual novel written before the movie came out that I guess John Carpenter followed. John Carpenter is, definitely the best guy who can adapt a book or do a remake of a film. He definitely owns that.
Oh, yeah.
Christine, he did Christine. That was a book. That was Stephen King.
Oh yeah.
He remade the thing. It was a good remake because it was a totally different film. He basically just used the title. He didn't even use the original film. He used the title.
No,
he did a whole different movie.
Wasn't it like The Thing from Outer Space or like?
Yeah, there was an old movie, which I encourage anyone to see. It's a classic film, and to this day, people who saw it back when they were kids, will say it's the scariest thing they ever saw. The thing was just basically an alien who was a person, and it was like the plot of the remake where they found it in the snow, these soldiers, and then it thawed out on a table, and then it kind of gets loose, but it's an actual person. It's like an alien. It's humanoid. And it's loose, and it's going around the compound, killing. It kind of pops up, and it has some scary pop-ups. But in the one in with John Carpenter, the alien is an alien that adapts and mimics essentially its host. It was a lot more complex than the original thing.
In the original, and John Carpenter's, apparently when was it the Swedish guy or whatever, the I think it's the Nordic guy, when he's chasing the dog in the beginning, he's yelling something in Norwegian, and apparently if you spoke Norwegian, he was saying that's not a dog, and apparently everybody who saw it in Norwegian, it was spoiled, or who spoke Norwegian was basically spoiled for.
Yeah, that was they remember I saw the sequel, no, the prequel. Yeah. They did recently a prequel, which had parts in it that were okay.
You know, it
had parts in it that were okay. I felt the film was again overly. It had a too large of a CGI budget, and it kind of came out kind of rather stupid at moments. But there's some moments that were pretty awesome and really respected the original creativity and theme.
Well, I was saying in general, there's been a big move to go back to using practical. I mean, we saw Mad Max.
The thing is with practical, why it's better, because it brings reality to the film. You really, I know, so CGI, Okay, you should only, in my opinion, with movie making, use CGI in certain films where it's applicable, like Star Wars. Clearly, it's not even financially possible nor interesting to make a film like Star Wars with practical effects. It's kind of stupid.
No, they do use practical effects, but they use the CGI to enhance or put it in places you couldn't
Right.
put it.
In today's age, the CGI with movies like that of that magnitude, where it's sci-fi, it's outer space, spaceships, it can work. But I think with a film where it's taking place in an environment more familiar to us right now, there's no need for it. They just don't want to do anything. They don't want to do the work.
Right.
I mean,
Mad Max Picture not had CGI in it, but it was done like for like the storms or for a few things where you couldn't do it, and it was done so lightly and such in the right way that it came out looking awesome. I mean, that's the big problem when you have like the Phantom the whole prequel series with Star Wars basically was like just one big CGI fuckfest.
yeah, the CGI again. Yeah, I mean, with movies, there's just a lot of films they just shouldn't be, like with war films. They started doing that with a lot of recent war films. Very bad. It really just takes away the emotion, and I just don't think we relate. Me personally, I think that's the issue with a lot of other people, because a lot of these CGI films, they overdo it on, really don't make any money. I mean, if you look at I mean, there's been record, flops in these overly produced films. These films with big CGI budgets, So I don't think it's working in a lot of films. They're just being. It's something that you use with certain movies. Unfortunately, you have lazy creators, and they just kind of throw it everywhere.
So horror. I mean, I've seen some pretty bad like CGI and horror movies. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, what's the worst one? What would you say the worst CGI you've seen or recently, or what you can think of?
I don't know. The Freddy one wasn't. I think, but I think that was the new Iron Officer only because that it didn't have Robert Englund in it. That's the problem. I don't like.
Oh yes, the Michael Bay Freddy, total fucking fail. I totally agree, and every other horror fan agrees. That was really fucking bad.
Because it has Michael Bay in it. And Michael Bay.
Well, it's just no. Really, what killed it is the lack of Robert Englund. The lack of I mean, only Robert Englund could do that role, or else you don't do the movie. That's period. I mean, he's done so many Freddy films. He owns the brand. If he doesn't do it, it don't work. Period. He owns the American. Nightmare on Elm Street is an American horror classic that is built in the American perception, the horror fan psyche. You cannot divert from that. It's just with Jason, you can do all kinds of shit, because you just need a really big dude. You can mix and match that up all you want. Like the remake of Jason that Michael Bay also produced, great movie. I think you saw it.
Yeah, the fun one for me. The fun part for me was the one of the characters in there. He was in the show. He's in the show Supernatural. He plays Sam, and you're like, oh, that's him, and that kind of works because you're like, oh, I expect him to be dealing with stuff like this. But my big problem again was like with the Freddy one is Michael Bay doesn't know how to write a good story. He just likes to make either explosions or gruesome, and that's the problem with I think people have with the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers. Things are just getting so all it is
oh yeah,
explosions.
I think it's also just with Ninja Turtles storyline. It's just boring. I think it's just kind of not in this day and age. Ninja Turtles was a classic old cartoon of the '90s. It's just not a thing for us now. Or was it '80s more? I forget.
It was 80s, 90s. It kind of it bridged the gap because of the fact that it started in the 80s and then went on for like 11 seasons and that's like insane for a cartoon. I mean, it wasn't until like Simpsons and Family Guy, and then when you start seeing long running, but those are like more satirical adult kind of like situational comedies as opposed to something like Ninja Turtles, which is an ongoing action thing. It's why a lot of many even live action shows die out after a couple years because they run out of plot or studios. And that's the big thing. That's why Turtles didn't do. I mean, you can't. I mean, they didn't even they wanted to add all this stuff. I mean, but I liked I owned the original ones from the 90s, the movies, live actions on VHS, and those were really good movies. They were fun. They were a little cheesy, but they were good movies for kid movies. They were, and there's one where they go back to feudal Japan, and that was pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The movies from the 90s, those were good. Those were all practical too.
Yeah, I've seen the suits work. There's a whole they'd wear the suit and it would basically have eye movements, and they would see through the nostrils on the turtles, so that's how they could see. And they would voice dub them, so you had Corey Feldman doing a voiceover.
Yeah, Corey. Did he do one of the voices, Corey Feldman?
I believe he was.
I believe it sounds right. Remembering the voices of the turtles, definitely, Corey definitely comes up.
Yeah, he was a Donatello.
That's right. Sounds like Corey. Corey Feldman. What a guy. Guess he says he's gonna. I don't know. He kind of led everybody on in the Hollywood gossip world, talking about how he was going to drop a big bombshell, a big star that was fucking all the kids back in the 80s.
Yeah, I think the problem was that when he by doing that, it kind of screwed over his career in many ways, because that happens.
Well, that was a recent thing he was doing. He was going to talk about how Corey Haim, he did a lot of movies with Corey Haim, which was another big actor in the child actor in the 80s.
Yeah,
he was a good actor. He was a good actor. He did Lost Boys and License to Drive. That was a funny movie.
Yeah, those are some great movies.
Yeah, and I guess he died very young. It was quite sad. But I guess Corey Feldman was going to talk about how him and they were molested by some big A-list celebrity. But I don't know.
I gotta start watching more horror movies. It's October, and there's a lot of stuff that's on my list. You got any good recommendations
for horror films?
Yeah.
The
Shining was a fun one to watch. That one was crazy.
The Shining, the Stanley Kubrick Shining is a fantastic film. Just overall acting, cinematography, location, costume work, effects. It was just brilliant work. I mean, I know Stephen King hated it because it was not on par with the novel.
Right. That's right.
Okay. I mean, you need to kind of look past that shit if you're going to judge a film. Come on, he knows better than that. I mean, you got to look at, the amount of work that they did in that film, with the blood coming out of the elevator and whatnot. I mean, that's a lot of effects you got to do.
Yeah.
The overall, the performance put on by Jack Nicholson alone, it was just great. And very real, and they had to do a lot of work. They really worked hard at that. It's pretty good. It's a great movie.
Well, I've heard a lot of people complaining because about one of more recent Stephen King works coming out, the Dark Tower series, because they cast.
Oh yeah.
I read the books; they were really freaking good. The problem is Roland Deschain, the main character, is being cast as Idris Elba, but he's supposed to, and this is not a race thing, but they describe.
I know it's not. I know it's totally, that is bad casting. The character's not black.
Dude, I've seen some good like ideas. Here, I'm gonna share it with you real quick. Where is it? Screen share. Screen share. I'm gonna. Like someone suggested that Javier Bardem play him, which I could totally see that would work perfectly. I mean, don't you kind of see him as playing like an old west kind of guy?
Javier Bardem.
Yeah,
I can see him. I can definitely see him in a western. Yeah, I mean, No Country for Old Men was kind of a little western. He played quite a vicious character, but
yeah,
I can see him definitely in a western. Oh yeah, of course.
I can't remember who else. There's a guy who looks just
anyone who's a Hispanic can be in a western. That's kind of the trademark.
I heard they remade the Magnificent. They're remaking the Magnificent Seven as well. Speaking of western,
yeah, it came out. It's already been out. I've missed it. Jody's wanted to watch it with me.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, maybe we'll go see it. I don't know. I'd like to see it. Merlin saw it with Michelle and said it was a really good film.
That's awesome. I gotta. By the way, we need to get Merlin on here so we can do D&D.
We really do need to get Merlin. We had a good time. He was really afraid of that haunt. His reaction was the best. Like he said, he bolted when he saw the clown with like a chainsaw. He like bolted. He like ran like a fucking marathon runner.
Remember when he called him to a ball when someone they come out, ah, ah! He called him to a ball. Oh man, that was one of the best things I'd ever seen. I was screaming and shouting, but I was doing it out of pure delight, and that's what made this whole thing the best. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he definitely had a good time. He hasn't done too many haunts, so it's kind of his natural reaction kind of dumped out.
Do that. We got to do something else like this. I mean, we got to do some more Halloween stuff. I've heard some pretty good like stuff. Maybe we should watch. So anything. So I actually saw something interesting. They just released the trailer for the new. You remember watching Power Rangers as a kid?
Yeah, of course. Are they making a Power Rangers movie now?
It looks pretty freaking badass. They're doing it like a kind of more like a superhero thing where they find the power coins and they basically it's written a lot more dark, and I like the way it looks. I'll bring up some of the stuff, but it's pretty crazy. Oh, yeah, here. That's the suits they're gonna be wearing in the movie. Kind of looks like Iron Man a bit though. You see it?
Let me see. Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it has the same spark as the original did, I'd be interested.
Well, they did. There's a few things that they did. What's it called? You know how in the original one they had the black guy as the Black Ranger and the Asian girl's yellow. They actually changed stuff up. Like Billy's now. Here, I have the like Billy is now black and Zach's Asian. So it kind of changed up that whole at least they're not doing that whole that unfortunate racial coordination that they had in the last one. At least in the first one, that was. I can't believe they did something that they didn't think. Hey, this could really look bad.
Yeah, I'm not. I used to be when I was young a very, very into Power Rangers, but I don't know. I wouldn't. I'm not like crazy about it coming out.
Yeah, I watched some of the original the stuff it's based off. It's actually quite a, it's Japanese. They only took like film footage from a Japanese like Sentai show, the Smash Hero show, and they imported it to US, and they simply all they did is simply add in the live action actors and do like they just simply did like voiceover for the action scenes, like because most of the action stuff, if you watch, I've heard they're called, it's called like Zero Zyro Ranger or something like that, the original, and it's basically these. It's kind of totally different storyline. Like these were ancient humans who evolved during the time of the dinosaurs, and when humanity now is like the second race of humans, and like they've been awakened to fight Baba, which is what Rita's called because she swore vengeance on humanity or some shit like that.
Interesting.
Also, it's totally done. It's funny because when I figured out it was from Japan, and then I watched Godzilla, I'm like, oh crap! It makes sense now. It's giant. It's people running around in giant costumes fighting. The whole like giant like monster scene. It was straight up out of like Godzilla. I mean, even the dragons were straight up reminding Godzilla because it would come out of the water out of Tokyo Bay. It's like Mecha Godzilla.
Yeah, I hope they make a new Pacific Rim movie. I really think that's due.
Oh, dude, I want to see that so bad. They apparently are working on it. That'd be another like great monster beat down movie. And the fun part, someone suggested they should have like a Godzilla cameo. That would be awesome.
A Godzilla cameo.
Or Godzilla, like they fight like because they're called kaiju. What if they fought like Godzilla?
That would be pretty cool.
Like Gypsy Danger versus Godzilla. So I think we've think we did enough for tonight, man. Or you have any?
We didn't hammer politics.
Oh yeah, that was fun. So the biggest horror lately has been politics. That's been I've heard so many like
I'm not sure where to start.
Well, I've heard a lot of people.
I don't think it's anything anyone didn't expect, or at least if you're a reasonable, normal person, you shouldn't have been surprised. You know,
grab her by the pussy.
Yeah, there's basically sexual predator Trump, which is kind of his thing. And then Hillary Clinton is basically, her entire secret evil life was basically just dumped all over the World Wide Web.
Yeah, that was.
And I guess they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. Basically, it was real. The entire U.S. election's fixed.
Right.
Essentially, all the way from the root to the end product. I mean, it's been laid out as fixed. She was coached when to smile.
Yeah.
She was given debate questions with Bernie Sanders. When she was debating him, she was given all the questions in advance. I have no doubt she was given I don't know if that's been an additional leak, that she was also given the questions in advance to her debate with Trump. I wouldn't doubt it. The whole media is for her. They revealed that. By the way, I was right. She and the Democrats did pick Trump to be the best opponent.
Right.
And they boosted him. They boosted him in the media. I mean, and it's true. He got like tons of free media, tons of free publicity through the media. Also, an interesting thing is this tape they have on him talking about pussy grabbing and shit. They've had that for a decade, and they haven't and they're now talking about a bunch of people who worked at the network, had the tape and was ready, could have released it last year or anywhere between the 10 years. but they happen to release it now after he won the nomination. I
Well,
believe if you released that tape to the Republican Party before the nomination, that would have thrown him down. Maybe. I don't even know. I don't know.
Well, the big thing was what's it called? Apparently there's some women coming out saying, yeah, they were groped by Trump. I heard about that.
Oh yeah, he's a groper. Yeah, he's a groper, and yeah, we know he was talking about like having sex with a 10-year. He was talking about how he was going to bang a 10-year-old. No, he was talking about how some 10-year-old when she grows up is going to bang him.
Oh
yeah, he's a pretty big pig.
To be fair, there have been I've seen one not 10-year-olds, but I've seen girls who are like 15. I'm like, they're hot.
Sure.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. It seems.
I'm not trying to be creepy. I'm just saying they're attractive, and if they're of legal age, they're someone I would date.
Oh, of course we say that. I mean, honestly, if you talked about banging women, I don't think that's a problem. But I think what Trump was kind of saying in his tape was he's talking about sexual assault. I mean, he says like he doesn't even wait; he just kisses them.
Yeah, that's.
So, I mean, I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, number one, okay, the whole thing, him trying to fuck a married woman, that's a dick move. It's rude. Does it make you an evil person? No. If you're just talking about fucking chicks, I wouldn't give a shit. But I know the SJWs are basically today. If you just talk about having sex with women, even consensually, they spin it as if you're raping.
They always do that. I mean, but some feminists want to put that P and V, penis and vagina sex. So
well, the question is though, the thing is with a lot of these politics is that everyone here blows off what everybody does. I mean, Bill Clinton for years is basically a white Bill Cosby. He has just countless numbers of women who have come out and talked about how they were raped by the fucking guy.
I don't.
How he forced himself on him, even when he was governor of Arkansas, to when he was after his presidency. But it seems like it seems like the Republicans who complained about his sexual shit in the 90s don't care about Trump's sexual shit and vice versa.
It's very.
I mean, the SJWs who are voting for Hillary, who for years make a huge deal out of people having consensual sex, why are they supporting a woman who's married to a guy that rapes?
Party politics.
Right. They're really unprincipled, pathetic little weasels.
Well, this was the point out to me interestingly. I was watching Amazing Atheist did a video recently where you talked about basically how you had he points out the very same exact thing he's saying. He says people who are basically, I think the term demagogues, basically who are so devoted to the party line are basically excusing. They're using the double standard because because that's what people do, because they don't want to admit it would create a paradox, and if humans didn't have the ability to basically counter that with doublethink, they'd go mad. They'd basically be like if everything I say is a lie, so that basically creates paradox. That's the kind of mindset that if they don't, and or else they'd be forced to like give up their beliefs. And but the problem is they're looking at like Hillary, like, oh, it's a woman president, so therefore they're gonna go, well, Bill did something bad, but who
cares? Didn't just do something. Yeah, I know. They're crazy. I mean, there's now a picture I put up on YouTube where it looks like him and Trump were in a foursome with two bunnies.
You mean on?
I put up a picture on Facebook of there's a picture of him and Trump in a baseball. They're in a suite, one of those luxury suites at the baseball stadium, and it looks like they had some hardcore sex with two chicks. I mean, you have a husband of the presidential one of the presidential candidates with the presidential candidate, and it looks like they double teamed two of these chicks.
Oh, I see that right here. Oh wait! I'm gonna show. Wait. Oh wait, that's.
Yeah, show that up here. Yeah. Look at this. Yeah, the picture up, the picture onto the right, the right-hand corner. That's them in a baseball suite. I don't think they just watched baseball. If you look down the corner, they have like food. They have a TV in the back.
Right.
Food, and she's got a Playboy bunny T-shirt. The chick that's closest to Trump. I mean, they clearly fucked these women. They clearly fucked them hard, fucked them multiple times. Did all probably force themselves on them. I don't fucking know. Probably not. I'm pretty sure it probably was. I don't fucking know. But this is just so. This is so hypocritical. I mean, you have these two massive, all these people, all these supporters talking about these people and yelling for these people. And here they are. That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it shows the fact that people don't give a fuck as long as it's their guy.
Like some Christian pastor said, "Oh, like grabbing the pussy's okay" or something. Some Christian, and then Michelle Bachmann today said, if you don't vote for Donald Trump, you're like reinforcing like an ungodly world that will rape women. I'm like, oh, shut up.
I'm already ungodly.
No one takes that seriously.
I thought America was becoming more and more ungodly as the day goes by. More and more nuns are popping.
I don't know. It's so bad. That's just so weird. Oh yeah, look at what's his name? Sargon of Akkad has a new video out on
I saw that
Hillary.
one.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. What he laid out. How Hillary at a lot of these things is saying how she's going to get rid of Citizens United. I'm like, no, you're not. Your entire world is based on the entire world's interests coming together to help prop you up. You're not getting rid of anything.
I'm gonna take out.
Yeah, she's correct. Okay, number one, what's funny about Hillary is 50% of her current issues that like on her website were changed after the nomination. She took Bernie Sanders' positions and she said they're her positions now. That is so rotten. She's such a cheat. She's such a coward. I mean, honestly, have a fair fight.
Here's what I think happen is I think that that's the deal. The devil that Bernie struck was you help. I support you. And
I wouldn't say it's a deal. You have to do that if you're going to be in politics, or else you're not. It's a two-way street. No job, or you do. They don't have a third option.
I'm so loving this image right here.
They don't. Why you do? Well, hopefully they at least invite Bernie Sanders to the foursome, to the fivesome.
Oh man, that's just so awesome.
Yeah, this is not even a wedding picture. This is them with two women who aren't their wives, and they of course fuck them. But of course, all their supporters will look at and they're like, "Oh, they're just at a baseball game. They're just going to talk about philanthropy to these women who are wearing skimpy outfits. I mean, their tits are hanging out."
Did you see that?
I don't think they're going to eat carrots and watch a baseball game.
Do you see the image where it shows like Trump going like what was it he said? He said hey, he said it was like the whole like them coming like, hey, I'll run for president and I'll run the Republican Party and wreck it. Like that's a great idea. And she's like just like totally like
yeah. They kind of did do that. I mean the media, who is totally, it seems the Clintons and the Democratic Party have in their basket, basically made that happen. It seems. I'm sure they paid him off. We'll find out in an email next year. He's going to get some contract to build like a fucking post office in Washington, D.C. They have all kinds of construction projects. I wouldn't doubt his bid is going to be pushed up to the front.
Right.
That's not unheard of. And then, of course, no one will care. They'll be like, oh, look at this. And all her supporters and the Trump people are like, oh, who cares? Shut up. Well, they won't care. Well, the women will be like, well, if you question that, then that's sexist.
Well, it's interesting. I've been actually going through certain stuff. Speaking of feminists, and I've actually seen people who would label themselves feminists, but they're not the radical third waves that all of us know and hate.
Oh, of course, I've met my fair share of that. Sure.
Yeah, one I've been I was recently watching Christina Hoff Summers. She calls herself the factual feminist, and she basically is like, we already got this shit done here. Let's start focusing on like stuff like the Middle East. And I recently was watching a book, a interview with Aaron Ra was having with this lady who uh, talked about women coming out of religion, and she's like, she said, "I'm a second wave feminist." I'm like, oh, that's a good kind of, that, because
Okay.
my big problem, again, I've said with the modern feminists is they all seem to have Munchausen syndrome, which is a victim complex, and if you contradict them, they basically scream louder and say you're oppressing them, because the more people are willing to believe that they're victims than not. I mean, and most of these people are really freaking rich ass people.
Oh yes, they're very spoiled. They're spoiled brats, kind of like Chelsea Clinton, according to the leaks. According to the leaks, the people who work for Clinton called her a spoiled brat. Well, that's kind of who runs that whole show. You're right, are very wealthy women who run the third wave movement. And perhaps there's more humble women who identify. But I mean, that person sounds like she's on an island.
Well, no,
I don't think she's got much backing on that.
No, there are a lot of people who would call themselves feminists, but there are a lot of who are like Aaron Ra is definitely, if you were to label him one, he would be more on the old, like an older.
Yeah, of course, sure.
In fact,
I mean, how many of those would you say out of the 20% of people that identify as feminists? I mean, I don't know if that makes up a big number. Maybe a 1%. That's like maybe a million people.
Here's what I think. I think most are. They've gotten tricked into this whole feminism including equality. So a lot of people are being tricked into this kind of idea that somehow not being feminist is a bad thing, whereas it's just simply saying no, I choose not. Like I believe in the right to own guns. I believe the right that you could smoke weed, but I also,
by the way, weed's going to be legalized.
I know Prop 64.
It's up in the polls. It's up in the polls, so it'll probably be legal.
Well, speaking of weed, Hillary wants to basically told the bank.
Yeah, we know because she's in bed with maybe the drug cartels are paying her off. I wouldn't doubt it. They probably gave her. I mean, she took $1 million from Saudi Arabia, but then talked about how they fund ISIS. By the way, that's kind of a funny thing here. Her whole team knew that Saudi Arabia is a big financier of radical Islam.
Yeah, Wahhabism, right?
Yeah, and what's funny is our government recently approved $1 billion arms sales. Our own president fought for them not to be sued. They can now be sued in international court by 9/11 victims.
Yes.
But Obama was like fighting them, but I guess it was a bipartisan thing. Even Democrats and Republicans kind of overtook his veto, and it's a big fucking interest garbage bag. Fuck fest.
Dude, I found something hilarious. You gotta check this out.
Hillary. How does it feel to be same sex as Donald Trump? How does it feel to be same sex as Sarah Palin?
This was this whole like BuzzFeed doing that stupid thing where they're like,
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump? Yeah, she's like, well, how does it feel to be the same sex as someone she doesn't like? She's good. I like. That's a seriously stupid question. I mean, honestly, the sexism in the sort of the left wing groups in feminism is so strong. I mean, that's just. But one thing I'm pissed about is today the whole Trump group that's going on with like repeal women's voting rights. I'm like, you do know that is going to give fuel to Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, and
they're doing this thing. I'm sure they're trolling. I'm sure it's all a trolling thing. It's a bunch of fucking trolls, and they're screwing around. But it's like now she's going to use this as her whole propaganda. Look, they have a hashtag that says repeal the 19th Amendment. I'm like, you're just giving her fucking money, like Sargon said. They just gave Anita Sarkeesian possibly $50 million today at that fucking hashtag. She got 50 million bucks.
How?
I mean, because now she's going to use it as a promotional thing. Look, Trump supporters want to repeal women's voting. Oh, let's tune into her. Fuck.
You know that
We're under attack.
How complicated it is to repeal an amendment. Amendments, I mean,
you know that, but look at her idiots who follow her. They won't give a flying fuck. They're just like, well, they won't even probably look at that far. They're just like, men don't want us to vote.
Here's a question: who's more full shit, Hillary or Anita? Because they both lie straight out of their fucking mouths.
Yes, they're both also quite misogynist. Well, Hillary definitely is quite. She doesn't give a shit who you want to fuck or rape as long as you give her money.
Anita's Anita hates women and men apparently because she.
Right, according to her.
You know, like she
chicks who play video games evil.
Yeah, they basically they don't get the fact that women like to be sexy. I know a lot because your woman Jody she had that really awesome outfit.
Yeah,
because she liked it how it felt.
Man, I've met, like I said, I got into a conversation with a cuck at my workplace who claimed that, oh, don't go to the strip club because you're objectifying women and they shouldn't be there. I'm like, are you telling a lot of women who work at the strip club want to be there actually? They actually like men coming in and throwing their cash down over their body. That is quite exhilarating. Okay, it would be exhilarating to men too if you had a hot body and women are drooling. What guy doesn't want that? Come the fuck on. Every human being loves to be desired. The strip club, number one, is a venue for that to happen, and it's a financial. Some of those women make more than attorneys. Okay, and they are there because they thought about it, and they're there. Saying you're disturbed or you're stupid or you're just being fucked over by men is so insulting. You're saying that they're not independent, that they're slaves somehow, God, or that they were fooled into it. You're saying they're stupid. You're saying you're insulting their intelligence.
You know what we should do? Speaking of if Anita ever comes out with another one of those like tropes versus women's versus tropes, we should totally like take a look at one of those and do a live stream.
I don't think she cares. I think her members are kind of what Mercedes Carrera said. They're kind of overweight. her members are kind of women who need to like either be secure that they have some roles,
or they basically are one of those ones. Daddy wasn't there, or they had parental issues, which is very
right.
And instead of going and getting
Dad was a dickhead. So what? I know a lot of guys whose mom was a bitch. Does that mean like, oh, okay, they're all justified? I mean, that's just stupid.
You could channel it to positive. I mean, look at Eminem. His mom basically was like abused. I think they said she basically was doing Munchausen by proxy.
Yep.
And he basically used his pain in the past as a catalyst to do better. Basically, he even says like, "I'm going to do right by my kids." That's one of his things. He wants to take care of his kids. I mean,
he should. He should.
Yeah, he got like into bad Ambien addiction a couple years back because of all the work he was doing, and so he got cleaned up. He's like, I got to be here for my family, which is an important thing when you have people you care about.
It is, and a lot of people have bad parents, and you meet people through different walks of life that are bad. The whole thing, with the feminists, I think they're just trying to excuse sexism. I think they're sexist, and they're just trying to find a way to justify it.
And they try to counter it by saying that it requires power in order to have an ist again, so racist. So only white people can be, you know.
No, they're quite sexist, and they're quite obsessed with it, and they need possibly some help mentally, and they don't want to face the truth. I think when you have a racist rate of sexist obsession like that, you need to seek mental therapy, and they don't do that.
You know what's stupid is they're talking about stuff like a was it cultural appropriation? I think the term is
oh, that is the dumbest fucking thing. Yeah, like they get mad at white people who wear sombreros. I'm like, fuck you. That's what I say. I say, fuck that.
Or the sexy Indian princess who women like to dress up as for Halloween, or dress up.
I'd say, fuck you. If you tell me, okay, then I'll say if you wear a cowboy hat, you're appropriating my culture.
Yeah.
What kind of shit is that? If that, again, that's kind of getting racist. I mean, saying that we can't dress up. So I'm saying, so if you dress up like a Viking, you're appropriating our culture.
You're stealing my ancestors' culture, you bastard.
If you dress up in a kilt and you're Chinese or black, you're somehow appropriating my culture. Fuck you.
I'm trying to find that video. Someone actually had a whole video about cultural. There it is. I think I found it. It's just here it is. Dude, I was watching this on Drunken Peasants. You want to see this bullshit? Want to riff on this? I'll show you in a minute. I'll screen share. This is speaking of this is Halloween theme, so let's show this. She looks like the ugly Weasley daughter. This is the one I heard about, the Indian president. That's bullshit. Offensive. What the fuck's an offensive Halloween costume?
What the fuck is she talking about? Who is this fucking woman?
I have no idea.
She looks okay. Here's the problem. I mean, she needs to kind of. She definitely needs. I think she's insecure. I don't think a lot of people fuck her. You know, I think I think she's if she's just this obsessed and bunched up about this matter, I think there's other issues going on. I mean,
she doesn't look. She looks like a.
There's plenty of guys who would bang her. Maybe I mean, there's plenty of great, decently looking guys that would bang her. I mean, I think she's just grumpy and maybe a little mentally ill or stressed out. I don't know.
Or confused by school teacher. I'm going to put it back on. By the way, just speak up and I'll pause it. Stupid, offensive. This still is kind of like the dumbest thing I've ever. This is the most face palmy thing I've seen lately.
Yeah, I mean, she really looks weird. Listen, I'm sure she can. I don't know what's her problem, to be honest with you. These people I think, are just, they're very, I was reading an article that they're from a generation of big spoiled brats. Their parents, overly coddled them every time a fly landed on their head. Their parents overly coddled them. You know, a psychologist wrote a really good article about this issue, that a lot of millennials are overly coddled.
Oh yeah,
everything. Jody knew a child psychologist, or this woman who was a psychologist, and her kid threw a rock at another kid, and she comforted her kid. Yeah, it's what's creating those people. They're just stupid. Number one, where in psychology would ever instruct you to not discipline that? I don't even know if she was following science. I mean, I don't think your discipline instructs that.
All right. Yeah.
That's just bad science.
All right. Hey man, so I have to go now. So we're gonna.
Are you going to the circus?
I'm going to the gym.
You're going to the gym at this time?
Yeah.
Where do you go? 24 hours?
No, but there's one I go to that's like open till like 1, so I'm gonna go and get a workout in.
You're going with the dungeon master? You're going with your dad. It's like, Daniel, do I have you or the couch? Do I have you or the couch? No. How's so you and your dad are going to go pump up? He's like, Daniel. Shit. He's like,
I'm trying to get ahead of Christmas. I'm trying to get rid of the double chin, and
that's good.
I mean, I already have great legs, and I'm just trying to get the rest in shape. So
That's good. Your dad goes with you to the gym. Do you guys lift weights or what?
He does running because I already do a lot of walking with my job, so I do a lot of weights, and he does.
That's
weights
good.
Too.
That will add the lean muscle will keep your metabolism moving.
Well, his big problem is he does only running, and because his job is like swimming, so he started doing stuff like weights so he can help him get out of the water better.
Yeah, he should put lean muscle on to keep his metabolism functioning.
Well, he has lean muscle. He just needs to build arm strength and stuff like that. All right,
there's a bunch of shit you can do. Okay, have fun pumping it up.
All right, everyone, thank you for watching this video. Check out our stuff later, and we'll
check out our stuff.